They are noticed. That is the part I need you to sit with for a second before I explain anything, because it's already happening and you have been too close to it to see it. Something about you is different right now, and people are feeling it before they can name it. The pause when you walk in, the way a conversation loses its thread for half a beat when you sit down, the eyes that stay on you a fraction too long, then look away like they got caught. You have probably noticed it and told yourself you were imagining it. You're not imagining it. That is real. That is real. Here is what I want to tell you in the first minute because you deserve to hear it straight. It's not that people suddenly discovered you. It's that you stopped hiding and now there is nothing in the way of them seeing you. The thing they are drawn to is not new. It's you finally uncovered, and I'm going to walk you through exactly what changed because you did this, and you should get to know how. Let me start with what you have been carrying because I think you know it and have never said it out loud. You have spent a long time being agreeable, reading the room before you entered it, softening your voice so it would not take up too much space, laughing a bit too fast so no one felt awkward. You got good at being easy to be around, so good that people stopped noticing the cost. And there was a cost. You felt it in that moment right after a laugh when your face settles and something heavier moves in behind your eyes. You felt it driving home from things, replaying every sentences, wondering if you had been too much or not enough. You felt it lying in bed with your chest tight, tired in a way that sleep did not touch. That tiredness was not weakness, that was the exhaustion of holding a version of yourself in place. Every day, quietly, you were performing a person who was slightly smaller than you actually are. And that takes everything. It drains you before the day even starts. You are not making this up. I need you to hear that. The heaviness was information. It was your own self, pressing against the walls you'd built to keep it manageable. And I can name some of it for you. The small things you never told anyone, the way you rehearse a message 3 times before sending it, softening every edge so it could not possibly be taken wrong. The way you apologize for things that were never yours to apologize for, needing a minute, having a preference, taking up a seat. The way you scan someone's face in the middle of your own sentence, checking whether you're still okay, still allowed, still liked. Nobody handed you that. You built it a long time ago, probably back when being smaller kept you safe. It makes sense then. It was smart even. Someone who learns to read the room and quietly disappear is someone protecting themselves. And it worked. And it got you here. But you are not in that old room anymore. The armor that once kept you safe slowly became the thing keeping you unseen. You outgrew it years ago. You just kept wearing it out of habit because taking it off felt more dangerous than the weight of carrying it. Now, here is what nobody tells you about the moment things start to change. It does not announce itself. There is no lightning. One day you are just a little too tired to perform, and instead of pushing through it, you let it drop. You said the honest thing instead of the smooth thing. You let a silence sit instead of rushing to fill it. You did not over-explain when someone was disappointed in you. And the strangest thing happened. The world did not end. Nobody left. In fact, something got quieter and steadier inside you, and people felt that too. Let me be really specific because I want you to catch yourself doing this. Think of a recent moment. Maybe it's an ordinary evening, kitchen light on, someone talking to you about something that did not sit right. And instead of managing their feelings, instead of shrinking to make the moment comfortable, you just stayed still. You let their words land and you did not scramble to fix your own face. You held your own ground without raising your voice. That pause, that is the whole scene. That is the shift most people spend years reaching for. Because when you stopped performing ease, you started radiating the real scene. And there is a difference people feel in their body, even if they can't explain it. Performed calm makes a room tense. Real calm settles it. You walked in carrying the real scene, and the whole frequency of the space changed. Here is what most people don't understand about presence. It is not loud. It is not the person working the room, laughing the hardest, telling the best story. Presence is the person who is not performing at all. The one who seems settled inside their own skin. Everyone else in room is quietly asking the same question with their whole body. Am I okay? Am I liked? Am I doing this right? You stopped asking it. And the absence of that question is one of the most magnetic things there is. Precisely because it's so rare that people can't even name what they responded to. They just know they feel steadier when you're near. Think of another moment. A group of people, everyone talking a little over each other, that low hum of everyone slightly performing for everyone else. And you, not reaching for the spotlight, not disappearing into the wall either, just there. Someone glances over at you and something in them quietly settles, and they could not tell you why. That is not charisma, the way people usually mean the word. That is just what happens when one person in the room has finally stopped fighting themselves. It is contagious. Calm always is. You did not become someone different. You just stopped hiding. That is entire transformation. Everything people are responding to now was already inside you, waiting for you to stop apologizing for it. And here is what I want you to understand about the ones who are watching you the closest. Some of people around you got comfortable with smaller version, not because they are bad, often because they care, and the small version of you was familiar, and familiar feels safe. They knew where they stood when you were the one who always adjusted, always understood, always made room. You were reliable that way. You were easy to predict. So when you stopped adjusting, something moved under their feet, and people react to that. You'll see it in small ways. Someone testing whether the old you is still available. Someone bringing up who you used to be like they're trying to call you back. someone watching you a little too carefully, trying to figure out where is the steadiness came from, the whether they can find it too. I know how that sounds. So let me be clear about what is actually happening. They're not reacting to who you are. They're reacting to what you are reflecting back to them. When you stop shrinking, you become a mirror. And a mirror shows people the space between who there is being and who they wanted to be. That is uncomfortable. That discomfort is not about you. It was always sitting there. You just stopped covering it up for them. And you might start to notice the shape of it. The person who used to lean on you constantly got a little quiet, almost cold, like they're recalibrating something. The one who always had an opinion about your choices getting sharper now than your choices don't revolve around them the way they used to. Someone from a while back resurfacing out of nowhere, pull toward a version of you they can sense but can't quite see yet. None of that is random and none of it is yours to fix. Because here is the thing about being a mirror. People don't always thank the mirror right away. Sometimes they resent it for a while, right up until the moment they are finally ready to look. And when they're ready, they tend to come back softer, having done their own work in the meantime. Your only job in between is to stay yourself, not to explain the mirror, not to tilt it so the reflection comes out kind of them, just to keep standing in the truth of who you are and let people meet it on their own time, at their own place, when they're ready and not a second before. The ones who are drawn in, who can't stop thinking about you, who keep circling back into your orbit. They are feeling something they have been starving for. They're feeling permission. Something in you says it's allowed to be real, to take up space, to stop performing. And they want to be near that because most of them have not given it to themselves yet. That is the pull. That is the thing they can't name. It was never a trick. It's the most honest thing you have ever done. So, let me tell you what you get to do now, because this part matters more than any of it. Let them wonder. You don't owe anyone an explanation for becoming more yourself. You don't have to shrink back down to make the room comfortable again. That comfort was costing you your life quietly, a little every day. Let them adjust. It's genuinely not your job to manage how people feel about you having boundaries. When someone is unsettled by your steadiness, that is there to sit with. You are allowed to be a calm. You did not perform into existence. Let them talk. If people are trying to figure you out, let them. You are not a problem to be solved. You are not required to be legible to everyone who is curious. Some things you get to keep. Let them misread you for a while. The ones who are meant to understand you will get there, and the ones who won't were never going to, no matter how much of yourself you send it off to make it easier for them. You don't have to be understood by everyone to be allowed to take up space. You don't have to earn your own presence by being palatable first. And let yourself rest. This is the one I really need you to hear. You have been ruining on the terms of performance for so long that stillness might feel unfamiliar, almost suspicious, like you are forgetting to do something. You are not forgetting anything. That quiet is what you were always missing. You are allowed to stop bracing. You are not being cold when you stop over explaining. You are being clear. You are not being selfish when you protect your own energy. You are being honest about the fact that you have limits like every real person does. The things you were taught to see as flaws, your sensitivity, your quietness, the way you feel everything a little too deeply, so they were never flaws. That depth is exactly what people are drawn to now. You just stopped hiding it under a personality that was easier to manage. Your softness was never weakness. It's the reason a room feels different when you are paying real attention. Your quiet was never emptiness. It's the reason people feel safe enough to be honest around you. The very things you tried to file down are the things making you magnetic. You spent years apologizing for the best of yourselves. And I want you to notice how strange that is when you say it plainly. The depths that make you feel like too much is the same depth that lets you understand people in a single look. The sensitivity you were told to tone out is the exact thing that makes your attention feel like a warm room to the people you give it to. You were handed a gift and told it was a defect. And you believed it for a long time, and you organized your whole way of being around hiding it. Imagine what it means that you stopped. Imagine the relief of not managing it anymore. That relief is visible on you now. People can see it. That is part of what they're drawn to, not a performance of confidence, but the simple, unmistakable look of someone who has stopped fighting themselves. So, here is what is coming, and I want you to actually let yourself believe it. The people who are meant to be near you are going to find this version much easier to reach because you're not buried under performance anymore. The ones who only knew how to relate to the small you might drift. And that is not a loss, that is a clearing. Space is opening, new people are already starting to arrive, drawn to the realness the way people always are when they finally meet it. And it is going to keep getting easier. The steadiness you had to reach for on purpose is becoming your baseline. Your body is learning it. Your nervous system is remembering that you are allowed to exist without bracing for impact. Soon it won't feel like a choice you make. It just be who you are. You already chose this. That is the part that undoes me a little. You did not wait for permission. You did not wait to feel ready. You just got tired enough of hiding that you set it down. And in setting it down, you became the thing everyone's now circling. That took more courage than anyone around you understands. Nobody claps for the quiet decision to stop performing. There is no audience for the moment you choose yourself in the privacy of an ordinary afternoon. But that is where the real turns happen. Not in the dramatic scenes, in the small ones. In the sentence, you did not soften. In the sorry, you did not say. In the silence, you let stand. You did that alone without anyone cheering, and it changed everything. This is your moment to stop bracing for the cost of being yourself. Because the cost was always the hiding, never the being. It's arriving now, the easy you thought you had have to earn. It was never something to earn, it was something to allow. So, when you catch those glances, when you feel the room shift, when someone can't quite look away, don't shrink from it this time. Don't reach for the smaller version to make it comfortable. Just let it happen. Let them notice, let them be drawn it. You are not too much and you were never too little. You are exactly the size you were always meant to be, finally taking up the room you belong in. They noticed because there finally nothing in the way. That was you. All of it was you. Welcome to be seen. It's yours now. Love you. Be real.